What is going on, everybody? I go by the name of Curry, and I want to thank you guys for joining me here today on SneakerPhetish. The last and final chapter in the Ugly Duckling Pack Retro from 2001 has finally come into the hands of all of us, and today I've got a pair for us to take a look at in a ridiculously big size, but that's how it goes when you never hit on the sneakers app for your own size. Without further ado, let's get into it. Boom. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Nike Dunk Low Ceramic. This is size 15. It's a pretty big shoe. Basically, what I tend to do on the sneakers app sometimes is just go for whatever size if I'm not able to get my own size. So if it sells out on me or whatever the case, then I'll just go for any size. And the size that I ended up getting this time was this big size 15. But let's get into the sneaker itself. Now, as I mentioned, this is the final iteration in the Ugly Duckling Pack from 2001. You had the plums that came out a while back. Then you had the veneers that came out a little while after. We did a video on the veneers. We kind of dug into that shoe and why it was important. And now we have the ceramics. And I'll be honest with you guys, the ceramics, they weren't my favorite out of the pack personally. They were my second favorite out of the pack. The veneers were probably my personal favorite out of the pack. Then the ceramics were probably my next favorite, but it is what it is. It's still a good looking shoe. But today I want to talk a little bit more about why we should probably appreciate the ceramic a lot more than I think that we do. It goes a lot deeper than just being an old dunk that came out in Japan. There's a lot of historical significance I think that's buried within the sneaker. Let's get into it. All right, now starting with the upper of the sneaker here. Now it's a classic dunk low as far as the silhouette goes. Nothing different about the silhouette. Very, very classic, pretty much true to the OG form. Thank goodness this isn't a worn Lotus dunk, because then we would have to look at some weird swoosh, or I wouldn't have this shoe at all because Nike sued him and he probably would have had to destroy it. Now, obviously the big color that jumps out at you is kind of this autumn pumpkin spice looking ceramic orange color that wraps all around the sneaker on both the lateral and medial side, down the eyelets of the shoe, up on the mud guards, and around the toe box. Now, along with that, you have the black suede quarter panels. As a matter of fact, the entire sneaker is made out of this really nice suede material. Now, along with that, you also have this color that they call nori. Now, that's this olive greenish looking color that's on the suede swoosh on the lateral and medial side. Taking it top down, look at the sneaker here. Black suede toe box, nori green laces, black tongue, standard tongue for the Nike Dunk Low, and you get the black Nike tongue tag with the green nori writing on it. Moving around to the back of the shoe, classic Nike Dunk once again with the black stitched Nike against that green heel tab. Classic white midsole on the sneaker as well. As far as the outsole goes, you get this nice ceramic outsole as well. It looks orange, but it is a ceramic outsole. We're gonna dig a little bit into that. And last but not least, hopefully you guys can see that, but you just have the standard ceramic insole with that black OG Nike branding on the heel. And that's pretty much it when it comes to the ceramic Nike Dunk Low from the 2001 Ugly Duckling Pack. Now again, like I mentioned, it's a good looking sneaker, but there's some really interesting portions of the sneaker that I wanted to dig into with this sneaker being from Japanese culture. Now the first thing that I want to dig into about this shoe are the colors. Now I noticed that there's a couple of different articles that seem to get the color a little bit mixed up. So I just want to reiterate, the green is the nori color that's on the size tag of the shoe, and the orange, of course, is a ceramic color. But with that, you guys know how I am. I gotta dig into the history and the motivation and the inspiration behind these sneakers, and I really haven't heard a lot of people talking about it. So let's start with the nori green color. So this nori green color is actually a color that's used on seaweed, and of course you guys know seaweed is used to wrap a lot of sushi, something very popular in Japanese culture. So I said, okay, I get the black, I get the nori or the seaweed color here for the green, but what about this orange? What about the ceramic color, and where did they get the ceramic color from? Because I've seen a lot of ceramics, and a lot of ceramics, all ceramics, are not always orange all the time. First and foremost, let's dig exactly into what ceramic is. Now, if you guys don't know what ceramic is, it's actually not one particular thing, but there are three different categories of ceramics that have to do with how hard and the quality of the clay that's used to form the ceramic. You guys have probably seen a pottery wheel before. You've seen somebody sitting down at this pottery wheel and it's spinning around really, really fast, and they're molding this clay on that pottery wheel. What they're doing is they're creating a ceramic. Now, there's three different kinds of ceramics. There's earthenware, there's stoneware, and then there's porcelain. Now, I could go down an entire rabbit hole about the differences between earthenware, stoneware, and porcelain, but this is not a pottery channel, and there are a lot of pottery channels on YouTube if you would like to really get into the depths of the differences between those three things. But in a nutshell, it has to do with how expensive and how how high quality those different ceramics are. Porcelain tends to be the most expensive out of all the ceramics. Stoneware seems to be kind of in the middle, and then earthenware seems to be on the lower, more budget-friendly end of the spectrum. Now let's dig a little bit deeper into that. Earthenware, as I mentioned, even though it is one of the cheapest ceramics, it is still a good ceramic that can stand the test of time. One of the most common names and colors for earthenware is terracotta. Now, terracotta is what's characterized as a brownish, reddish, almost orangish looking color of clay that is molded into sculptures and bowls and dishes and all these different things in Japanese culture. Not only that, but you guys have seen terracotta used in a lot of different ways. If you've ever seen a flower pot, usually those flower pots that look like they're around this color in somebody's front yard, that's terracotta. Now, terracotta is good because even though it is quality, it doesn't cost a ton of money. That's why those flower pots usually aren't that expensive. You can get them pretty cheap at Home Depot or wherever you want to get them from. So that really got me to thinking about terracotta, because now we seem to find exactly where the inspiration behind this color is. This seems to be derived from the terracotta variation of earthenware ceramics. But why does terracotta mean that much in Japanese culture? I'm glad you asked. The first emperor of China was known as Qin Shi Huang and ruled for about 2,133 years in China. Now, what that led to was what's known as the Qin dynasty. Well, around 246 BC, Qin Huang actually ordered the construction of small terracotta figures that were shaped like warriors that were known as the Terracotta Army as a means to protect him in the afterlife. It took over 700,000 laborers and 36 years to complete the Terracotta Army. Now, the way the story goes, the army wasn't completed as it originally was intended, but that's another story for another day. However, as the first emperor of China, this was a very, very big deal in the culture over in Asia. So it would make a lot of sense why you would dedicate an entire colorway of a Dunk Low to something that was so important and influential in the history of where this sneaker was originally released. The more you know. So because of that, even though personally as a fan, I like the veneers a little bit more. And personally, that's just because I like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It reminded me a lot more of Donatello. This sneaker might actually be one of the dopest ones in the pack just because of how deep the history within the colorway goes. It dates back thousands of years, back to a time in China where you had emperors and laborers and they were doing these terracotta figures, and each one of them was a beautiful figure that was handcrafted, meticulous detail. And so to kind of commemorate that in this sneaker, to me, makes the sneaker very, very special. Now, I know not everybody really cares about the history like that. A lot of people just look at these as the ceramics and you ask them, why is it called the ceramic? And a lot of people just don't know. They just call them the ceramics. They're going for $250 on StockX. That's what matters. Like I always say, it is what it is. These sneakers are what you make them. So if they're currency for you to use to sell or to trade for something else, that's what it is. If it's something that has a lot of historical significance, that's what it is. If it's something that you really wanted to pay homage to, if you own an original pair of the 01 Ugly Duckling pack and you just had to get these back because you're such a history buff or such a sneakerhead, hey, that's what these are to you. That's the beautiful thing about sneakers. They are whatever you want them to be. They're customizable. Even though it's the same shoe, it means different things to different people. So that's pretty much all that I have for these today. Now it's time for you guys to sound off down in the comments and let me know what these sneakers mean to you, and let me know what you guys think about the Nike Dunk Low ceramic from the Ugly Duckling pack. Were these on your must cop list? Did you have to have these? Are you hoping that these are underneath the Christmas tree, or were these a hard pass for you when you just really weren't feeling the orange, green, and black colorways? Sound them down below. Let me know. Of course, right down in the comments, make sure that you click on that subscribe button so we can welcome you into the Sneaker Fetish family to make sure you don't miss out on any more heat that comes through like these, because I guarantee you, I got a lot more heat on the way. As always, I want to thank you guys for joining me here today on Sneaker Fetish, taking a look at these with me, unboxing them with me for a couple of minutes. I go by the name of Kari. This is the Nike Dunk Low ceramic for 2020. And until next time, I'm out.